Hey there everyone, it is 80 here once again with another game of StarCraft 2. This will be another game featuring the blue Zerg spawning here at the bottom right. His name is FXOtgun, and this will also be another best of 3 series between him and another player from MLG Columbus just a couple of weekends ago. And it will be played here on the MLG version of Tal'darim Altar. Just to review T-Gun's information, he is ranked 185th in the North American Grandmaster League with 192 wins along with 181 losses, which is right around a 51.5% win rate rather for our Zerg player. His opponent this time will be the orange Protoss spawning here in the top right. His name is coLCrunCher. He is ranked first in the Masters League division Sargus Charlie, also from the North American servers, and he has a record of 92 wins and 34 losses. Does our Protoss player. So once again, these players will be duking it out here on Tal'darim Altar, and it will be from a best of 3 series. I'm not quite sure what game this is, which game rather, 1, 2, or 3, but it is from that series, so these players will be fighting for a little bit more on the line than just, say, another ladder game. So we'll see which player is able to take this game down and be one step closer to advancing in the next round of MLG Columbus. Also, you may have noticed I took the nameplate down. A couple people were asking me to remove that because it kind of cluttered the screen for when other things were happening, and of course, I mean, after the introductions, there's not much purpose to having the names of the players up there on the screen. I'm personally just used to it, but it's always about what the fans want, so I have made that switch for this cast. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully I don't blank on the names of the players. I mean, that would be embarrassing for sure. So we'll see how that goes. And also, on that note, if there's anything you guys would like to see me do, anything differently, anything better, please don't hesitate to let me know. My email is in my channel's profile page, but it's also, just to let you guys know, it is AdaZetaSC2, that is just the letters SC and then the number 2, at gmail.com. So if you have any questions or comments or suggestions, please send them either to that email or, you know, just let me know in the comments down below in this video, as this drone was being a butthead, but this Nexus was able to be put up by our Protoss player coLCrunCher, so well done by him, able to distract that drone just long enough to put that Nexus down. So we do have the expansion coming online for our Protoss player before his Zerg counterpart is able to do so. He's also going to be going Forge first, just to make sure he's safe against any sorts of quick attack, just to be able to have some defenses up. And we see, oh, this might be that Evo Chamber trick rather. He's just getting the hatchery up so that when he cancels it, there will be creep, and he's going to be putting that Evo Chamber down there. That is so frustrating when you're playing against a Zerg player and he decides to be a huge jerk and do that. This will take up this spot on the map for quite a while, as it'll take a lot of damage to take that Evo Chamber out, 750 hit points worth of damage. And looks like coLCrunCher will just opt to put a cannon up there, and that will eventually take out this Evo Chamber if indeed it is left there. And there it goes, just now popped. It's a little trick you can do with Zerg. You make a hatchery and then you cancel it right away, and the residual creep from below that hatchery will allow you to build any other building you so choose. And in this case, as usually is the case when players do this as Zergs, we have an Evo Chamber going up for T-Gun, so he's just being as annoying as possible here in the early game. Also has a couple of Zerglings up here, just kind of trolling around the outskirts of our Protoss player's base, who has walled in with a Forge, 2 gateways, and a pylon, and now this cannon is going to work in this Evo Chamber. About halfway done destroying that. Taking a look around, we just have Chrono Boost going off the Nexus. This Overlord is conveniently seeing everything that's happening. We have the hatchery coming online for T-Gun. It's about halfway done, and this probe is right here, so he has advanced scouting knowledge of the fact that the Zerg player is now getting his hatchery online, as this Nexus is starting to get populated by probes. Alright, back to what I was saying a little bit before we saw this little trick be done. Yeah, so if you have any suggestions, do not hesitate to let me know. And also, on the flip side, if you do enjoy these videos, please take the time to subscribe. It shouldn't take too long, and I would love you forever if you did so. Alright, we have these broodlings just coming out and trying to attack these cannons a little bit, but of course they won't get past the shield damage, so that will heal completely in time. And we see Cruncher is taking the opportunity once that extractor is gone to put up a cyber core. So he is teching up nicely, as we actually have the Zerg player expanding again into a 3rd base. So his 3rd hatchery is coming online down here at the base that's actually closer to his main by air, but much farther by land. Just to look at this map real fast, you have your natural, of course, which is right next to that choke into your main, and then there's one 3rd base that's right down here close to your natural, but there are rocks, so you have to destroy those first. Your alternative 3rd is as the one that T-Gun has opted to take. It's very close to your main by air. You can just go right out over this cliff, but of course if you are a land unit, you have to go all the way down into your natural, and then you go down this ramp, around this cliff, taking the corner, you know, humming some tunes as you go along, and you make one final turn, and there you go. You finally make it just as that hatchery just now spawns. So it'll be difficult for him to guard that base by land. We'll see if that comes into play and is more significant later in this game. At any rate, back at the Protest player's base, he has his Cyber Core finished warping in and is starting to research Warp Gate, so that will be online in about 100 seconds, I would say. In-game seconds, of course, not real-life seconds. We have this Nexus churning out a couple of probes just to help populate the natural. He is getting that Stalker out, so he will have more units just credit. Oh, unfortunate. This Stalker spawned. Maybe he intended for it to spawn over here, but he will have to destroy that pylon for that Stalker to be able to get back inside. So he indeed accidentally had that Stalker misrallied. A mistake that a lot of players make, even high-level players, just because it's something you don't really think about doing and you kind of expect that you already have done. So that Stalker actually spawned on the wrong side of these gateways and had to destroy the pylon to come back in. But maybe he intended to destroy that pylon anyway, just to have an entrance into his base. So not all is lost from losing that pylon. He maybe will actually gain from it later on in this game. We have the third hatchery already online, so a couple of drones are going to be down here with a queen already down there, macroing like a boss as our Zerg player, ready to spew vomit whenever necessary. We have attack level 1 happening for our Protoss player, along with just now getting a metabolic boost for his Zergling speed is our Zerg player. We'll see when these players decide to engage, as they've both been macroing up pretty heavily so far in the first 8.5 minutes or so of this game. Warp Gate is getting near completion, and we have a bunch of gateways going out for our Protoss player. It looks like 4 more gateways rather, along with also a Robo facility. So he is going to be getting all of those production facilities up, along with a Twilight Council as well. So he will be teching into, I would assume, Blink Stalker, but we'll have to see what he decides to do. Let's look at his composition. What does he have right now? He has 1 Stalker, so not really tipping his hat in that regard. Let's look at the APM stab just for kicks. We have Cruncher right around 100, while his counterpart T-Gun is up there at 168, so nicely done by both players being over 100 APM. Always love to see those triple digits. We have the Zerg player rallying a bunch of Zerglings right here outside of his natural. It looks like it's about 24 or 25 or so right there alone, so they'll be having a little party by themselves. As we have the Protoss player actually chrono boosting out attack level 1, so he is wanting to get that upgrade out, and he has indeed gotten Blink underway, so we will see some Blink Stalker play as he's actually warped in a bunch more Stalkers, so he's actually multiplied his Stalker count by 6 since we last saw. He now has 6 on the field with Blink on the way and ground weapons level 1 having just now finished. So those Stalkers will be a force to reckon with. We'll see how much damage they're able to do in the engagement that is probably soon to come. Zerglings still just chilling down here, having you know, a party, talking to each other, just going over strategies, flanking techniques, and whatnot, as we have 2 Evo chambers down here, so 1 each researching weapons and armor for those Zerglings. He is opting to go with melee attacks level 1, foregoing any sort of ranged attacks, as I don't believe he even has Roach Warren anywhere. He does, however, have a Spire on the way right now, so we will see some Mutalisk play, I'm assuming, or maybe he's just teching into Corruptors and Brewlords. We'll have to see what our Zerg player decides to do, as he is now moving his blob of Zerglings. It is a bunch of Zerglings over 2 full tabs. That is 48 plus 56. It is actually 60 Zerglings right there, just chilling in one giant blob of blue Zergling claw-y madness. And meanwhile, the Protoss player has a significantly, or majorly, well, a primarily is the word I was looking for, Stalker army, along with the probe just making a proxy pylon right up here. And this one Zergling will be super sad that it got destroyed by a group of Stalkers, but it will be able to phone back home and with its dying breath tell his Zergling brethren to, wow, they're going to be moving in one massive blue blob right past this Protoss army, able to actually escape that entire army's range, moving right past it. We'll see if he decides to run up into the main, and it is blocked off, unfortunately for him, as a couple of Zealots have now warped in to finish off that wall. The Zerglings will be forced to leave, it looks like, and these Protoss players' units are now getting right under these Mutalisks. They have no chance against this number of Stalkers, so they will be taken out right away. Look at that unit's lost out real fast, and it does appear that T-Gun is quite far behind. Looks like he's lost 2.5 times as many resources. This Zergling blob is still just moving around, a menacing blob of blue madness, and it's going to get a nice surround on the outer units right here, but there are Stalkers within. They're just teeing off, and oh, great use of force fields right there, preventing the Zerglings from getting any sort of surround whatsoever, and actually encasing his own units in a bubble of force field cushiony comfort, and it's going to protect all of these units and allow the Stalkers to just go off on the Zerglings, and it does look like T-Gun lost almost every single Zergling right there. Probably, I think, actually, he did lose all 60 or so Zerglings from that engagement, and also Mutalisks being killed as well. This Overlord also is in trouble of going down, and we have the Protoss Death Ball now just marching in to the natural of T-Gun, and T-Gun is in some serious trouble right now as the Protoss player. See how many upgrades he has. He has 2 weapons, and there we go. It looks like T-Gun has indeed decided to GG out of this game, as it looks like he was just overrun by the Protoss player, who got nice upgrades, focusing entirely on the attack, got some Blink Stalkers, didn't even have to use Blink, just kind of marched those Stalkers down, and great use of force fields right here in the middle, as those Zerglings did have a pretty nice surround of the army as a whole, but they were completely neutralized by the fact that force fields were taking up that space that was around the outside of the Protoss player's army. So well done, Protoss, well done, Cruncher, for using those force fields so effectively. T-Gun was unfortunately outmatched in this game, so to the viewer who wanted me to cast him T-Gun, I'm sorry that he lost. But of course, every player does lose, and it doesn't mean he's bad or anything. He is, of course, still a very good player. At any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you guys next time.